What's up, everybody? We're back with another live Live to Roll this week. I am Shawn. We'll do a quick intro here, and whoops, I wanted that one. I am Shawn, C5, C6 quadriplegic from a snowboarding accident 17 years ago. And Tom, why don't you give a quick intro?
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another week of Live to Roll. Thank you, everybody who's joining us. Thank you, anybody who's new out there watching for the first time. I'm Tom Conaway, C5, C6 quad. I'm 28 years old, and I've been paralyzed for 24 years. I live in Southern California. And ready to do some quad talk with some awesome guys. So I'll toss it on over to Bobby.
Thanks, Tom. What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Live to Roll. Make sure you hit that like button if you're watching right now live with us or viewing it later. So make sure you hit that like button. My name is Bobby Rohan. I was hurt 32 years ago in a cycling accident. I'm a C5-6 quadriplegic. I live in beautiful Southern California, OC, Orange County. Loving it. And let's meet our guest. He's a returning guest, a great friend of mine, Darryl Parker.
Hi, everybody. My name is Darryl. I'm a C54, 4-5-6 quadriplegic, incomplete, full quad. I was hurt 14 years ago in a car accident. I live out here in sunny California, and I'm probably in the best place I could possibly be after being injured, spinal cord injury.
Awesome, thanks, man. We're glad to have you, Darryl. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here, and we're really looking forward to your insight and ask you some questions.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been injured, Darryl? You said 14 years.
14 years. You know, when I first got hurt, they didn't really know what to do with me because they didn't think I was going to live that first 3 days. And by the time they did figure out that I was staying around, I ended up going to St. Jude's Hospital, where I learned a lot about my injury, and I learned a lot about taking care of myself. And I was there for 9 months. And it was probably the best 9 months of my life, going in the situation that I was in.
Yeah. That's nice. It makes a lot of difference having, good rehab and, good hospital experience. First off, like, it can make a huge difference and really set you up for your recovery. What's up, Ron? Did we get our last guest to join us?
It looks like we got our last guest here.
Mr. Ron.
Awesome. How's it go?
Ron, you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you and have the audience meet Ron.
Hi, my name is Ron Martinez. I was injured in 2016, October the 6th. Broke my neck, C2, 3, 4, and 5. I got, by the grace of God, I got 85% back. That's pretty much it. I do a lot of exercise in this to keep myself going.
Yeah. So Ron, you're what we used to call a walking quad. One of the
yes.
It's got a chance to recover. And you can ambulate, right? Like you can walk, like you have pretty full function.
I can walk. I got everything full function.
Wow.
And how long after your injury were you walking?
About 5 months.
Okay. So were you done with rehab yet, or just getting out of rehab?
No, I went to rehab for about maybe 6 months, 7 months total. Then I went into outpatient for a little while, and they told me I couldn't advance anymore because I had a frozen shoulder. Because when I was at Casa Calina, they were trying to help me get out of the wheelchair, and I fell, and she fell on top of me. And I still think that created my frozen shoulder.
Okay.
So when I was at Casa Calina outpatient, they told me they couldn't advance me anymore, so that was enough for them.
Okay.
Interesting.
So how long, Ron, after your injury did you start to get your function back? Was it like immediate, your first few weeks, month of rehab, or did it take some time before it started
It
coming
took some
back?
time. It took about 3 months to
Okay.
start getting some feeling back.
Okay, cool. So that's what
And
one of the,
so, oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was gonna say one of the things that we're gonna touch on today is just what the difference is between incomplete and complete injuries and stuff. So Ron, we want to make sure that it's clear. Ron, broke his neck and everything. It just was a less complete injury. So it doesn't mean like he there was
There
something
was
magical he did, or something, anything like
right,
that. He did
and there
work
was
hard,
like
and that's
less
what one of the
nerve.
things it takes is hard work and dedication to it. But like a lot of it is just the completeness of how much nerves are injured in your spinal cord. So
And that's like the
There was
luck element, right? Spinal cord injuries, every spinal cord injury is different. And some trauma is just more severe than others. Usually it's the inflammation in our spinal cord from the trauma that ends up causing the damage to the nerves. Now, sometimes the inflammation can subside. And it's it's what they do now to treat spinal cord injuries is to pump you up with steroids to reduce as much inflammation, to reduce as much damage as possible to the nerves. And there are other treatments too, like cooling your body down to really low temperatures to stop inflammation from happening. But that's kind of the name of the game. But for some individuals, the inflammation doesn't do too much permanent damage. It just shocks the nerves. And in months, a few months time, through rehab and just like working, waking them up again, some can recover. I've met a few quads that I saw, in the hospital initially, come in the support group for the first time, C through C3 paralyzed, full loss of function, and then walking out of the hospital 3 or
Well,
4
mine
months
was
later.
actually spinal cord stenosis.
Okay.
Cervical spinal stenosis is what mine was. I should have listened to my body. And every day coming home from work, because I've worked for the movie studios, my neck was hurting more and more and more and more. And I kept telling the wife, my neck is hurting a lot. And then I just fainted and hit the floor, and I was into that. And it turned out to be that my whole neck was just cluttered with, how would you say it? It's like a bone being attacked. I had everything around it. So after I fell, the doctor put 8 pins and 2 rods in my neck, and he cleaned everything out. There was a big difference between the two pictures.
So what exactly is spinal cord stenosis?
Spinal,
Um,
it's attack on the spinal on the neck, and it actually caused me to faint. So thank God I was home instead of being at work, because he said by the end of the year I would have fainted anyway. So thank God I was home.
wow.
Do they know what caused it?
They just, well, what I understand from him was just because of all the heavy lifting I did. I was putting a lot of stress on my neck because I'd average about 200 to 300 pounds a week. And I just thought because maybe I'm lifting too much.
Yeah.
huh.
So what effects from your injury do you still have? You said you have 85% recovery.
I have pain from the chest up still. That just don't go away. But once I lay down, it's gone.
That's
But
cool.
other than that, I can pretty much do everything back to normal. I've been on my motorcycle. I drive.
You have your full hand function.
Yeah, I do. The only thing I got is this one little finger right here, which it never came out of. But it's a lot straighter than what it used to be. It used to be like this permanently.
Okay, wow.
So I went in to a doctor's, and he gave me this device right here, and that straightens it out.
Yeah.
And now when I leave it on more, the more fingers stay straight. But other than that, everything works pretty good. I have no feeling in the fingers of my tips, though. That's the only thing.
So how many years rehab and recovery did you do to regain your function after?
Total about, I'd say about a year.
Okay, wow. And you were ambulating after that year, like walking?
Yeah, my legs, I noticed when I was in the hospital, they were starting to feel, I could feel some sensation. So I used to have this nurse come in and she would kind of like hide in there. And I would tell her, do me a favor and can you shut the alarm off on the bed? So she didn't say yes or no, but I know she did. And I had her prop my back up against the bed and I could feel my legs moving. So I would press against the headboard. I do 300-400 on the right leg, 300-400 on the left leg, 300-400 on the left leg, 300-400 on the right leg. And then slowly everything just seemed like I was pushing the bed good. So when I was going into therapy all the time, Elliot told me, he goes, well, Ron, we're going to test your legs and see how strong they are. And I said, well, I think they're a little strong. He goes, well, let's see. So he sat down on a chair with wheels on, and he put my leg up towards him, and he goes, okay, push. I knocked him off the chair. And he goes, oh, that's the end of that. You're getting out of this, what you're doing. You're going to start walking right now. And that's what they did. If it wasn't for Cascalina and 4AP, I believe in that 4AP 1,000%.
Okay, so that's another thing. Go ahead, Shawn.
So let's talk about, and I know that's our topic, is 4AP. And I think there's a lot of people out there that want to know what it is. So let's dive right into it and find out what is 4AP.
So I'm going to just touch on the science a little bit because I think it's important to understand what it is. And so the drug is called 4-aminopyridine, and it's derived amino substituent. Now, I don't know exactly but what it does and what it can do and why they're treating individuals with multiple sclerosis and spinal cord injury with it is it can improve impulse conduction on demyelinated lesions. So that's what happens when you have a spinal cord injury or trauma to your spine is the myelin sheath surrounding your spinal cord and all the nerves that send all the signals to the rest of your body gets damaged. And it's not able to conduct those signals the way that it used to. Now, this drug, for whatever reason, 4-aminopyridine, I'm sure there's a specific reason it works and does what it does, but it can help improve that conduction for demyelinated regions of your spine. So if there is trauma, it does something to help improve that conduction for the damaged area. And it's beginning to show some positive results for certain individuals. Now, that's what we're here to talk about. So I'm going to toss it on over to the other guys to.
I got the information from Bethany O'Connor. She was one of the only ones at Casa Calina that knew spinal cord injury. And she told me, have you started AAP, a 4AP? And I go, what's that? She goes, well, it stimulates the nerves. And I go, well, should I? She goes, well, if my dad got hurt, he'd be taking it today. And after that, that was into that.
Yeah.
That's cool. So Darryl, Darryl didn't like us, they didn't really give you that or offer that in the beginning. Darryl, you started taking 4AP years after your injury, right? 8 years after your spinal cord injury?
I'm surprised you remember that. Yeah, man, about 8 years.
He's got good memory.
Yeah, he does. And, at first, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I just started being able to feel different muscles that I've never felt before, when I was taking it. And I believe it was helping me, especially with my trunk control and my arms and fingers. Just before the pandemic hit, I started being able to feel my fingers and be able to make moves with them. Like before I couldn't. I mean, I would try to be like focus and, do your index finger. And when I would try, I mean, nothing. But now I can think about it and I can feel it trying to kick. It won't move, but it'll kick. But we was at a meeting one day at a support group, and my right arm fell off my chair. And I was able to bring it up and put it back on. And
right
Bobby
on.
was like, he was there. He saw it. And it was like, he's like, is that new? And I was like, yeah, man, I didn't even know I could do that. And he said, are you still taking it for it? I said, yeah, man. And so that was, and I was happy, man. But when the pandemic, everything shut down in March. So I couldn't go back to therapy. So the only thing I could do was do range of motion for a whole year. I just got reevaluated, and right now I'm able to use my right hand and right arm with a cane where I can make moves up, back, side to side, and up and down with my arms. The doctors told me I would never be able to do that, and I'm going on 14 years, and now I'm able. I'm going. And once the rehab kick in, and my therapy kick in, I guarantee you'll see a different person the next time you want to talk to me on the show.
I believe in that highly.
Because it takes, like you said, hard work. I worked hard when I didn't have anything. So what do you think I'm going to do that I can feel stuff? I'm going to work my butt off, man.
Yeah. That's something really, I think, important to remember is, even if, like, very often in our rehab, as we're gaining, function back and, we're discovering what we can do and discovering what we're capable of, we all plateau. It's just something that happens even if you're working out and you're trying to, lift more weights and, get bigger muscles and get to a new place. Like, very often, we plateau. But it's important to not be discouraged and not be discouraged by, new things you can do or, new achievements and stuff. But, continue to stay hungry, continue to stay after that rehab. It's just like if you continue to work your body and to, work your muscles and, try to activate those things, it can't hurt,
Well, for all the listeners, I'd say this, because when I was in TLC, I would go from 9 to 3 o'clock every day. And they would always tell me do 20 reps on your right hand, 20 reps on your left hand, and they'd walk away. Well, I wouldn't see them back for another 10 minutes. So when they came back, they said, "So how many did you do?" And I said, "Well, I did 150 on the right and I did 150 on the left." And they go, "Oh, you're going to get a relapse." And I said, "How can that be possible? I'm trying to get myself together. Mine is strong in everybody's body." And I did always triple what they told me to do. And I still think that's what got me back to where I'm at.
Now, Darryl, going back, do I remember you first started the 4AP and then all of a sudden that you were getting sick or something and then you had to stop it and then start it up again later?
Yeah, what happened was I wasn't doing physical therapy or occupational therapy. And I went through that phase, where Medicare, where you get up to that point, they cut you off and then wait another 3 months, then you go back. So I was taking it without doing any physical therapy, and I don't know, I got this electrical shock from my spine, from like my tailbone, and went all the way up to my head.
Good.
And we don't know. It happened quite a few times, and then I stopped. So we was trying to, me and Sheree, she's a nurse practitioner, my wife, and we were trying to, check off the list of everything that I'm doing to see why this is going on. And it was a 4AP, so we stopped it. And when we stopped it, I was fine. So I haven't been fine. So that might be a side effect for some people, but I was recommended by a doctor to give me the 4AP. So, I told him about it. And he said, yeah, just when you go back to physical therapy, then start like taking it. And that's what I'm doing now. And
which doctor first recommended it? Was it your spinal cord injury doctor, like where you go, like your podiatrist?
Yeah, Rancho Los Amigos. I'm sorry, Casa Colina, Dr. Lee at Casa Colina referred it to me.
And you said this was 8 years after your injury.
Yeah, 8 years. And before that, I wasn't able to do anything. So
yeah, that's crazy. Because I know initially they were talking about that drug was for like right away, initial spinal cord injury, right in rehab, like when Ron got it right at the beginning. But it's really cool to see that there's actually benefits and effects.
Yeah, well, what I read a couple of studies that they're doing because there's still trials going on for this. Mm-hmm. I read this studies particular to spinal cord injury, and what they're giving is super high doses. So they're giving
Yeah.
like
Yes.
really high doses of this stuff to try to stimulate, whatever
It
can.
stimulates the nerves. It's what they're
Now,
trying to do.
now they're showing that with like repeated high doses, even longer term injuries, people who have had damage for a long time, they're showing some positive effects. So that's pretty interesting, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now,
I believe in that.
you said you experienced side effects. How about you, Ron? Are there any known side effects that you didn't get? And did you experience any period?
I didn't experience not one side effect, not one. I felt that 4-AP, after Dr. Bethany told me that it stimulates the nerves, I've never had anything go wrong with me at all.
The one
And are
thing
you
that
still
I
on?
take it twice a day.
You still
Twice a
take
day.
it twice a day.
No, I haven't taken it in over 3 years.
Okay.
Okay. Did you notice anything when you stopped? Like
No.
kind of feeling run down or less energy in any way?
Nope. Everybody told me that I'll get some side effects to ease off slowly, and no, I never got any of that.
That's cool.
Now, when you first got started on it, after the first month or two, did you notice a difference initially?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. You can feel
How
it like a
long-
little tingling. I used
Okay.
to take gabapentin and then vitamin E and D in the morning when I was at Cascalina, and I take the same amount of the dose in the evening, and I feel a little tingling, but I go, well, it's working because it was a tingling going on. But other than that, no side effects. Thank God or any of that.
That's nerve sensation, probably, your nerves talking to you. That's
Oh,
usually
yeah.
what it means.
So-
So that's pretty interesting. How about you, Darryl? Did you notice the effects immediately, or was it a while after you started taking it that you noticed the difference?
You know what? It was immediately, man. Probably within 2 to 3 weeks, I started feeling things, man. And it's I couldn't feel anything from my arms. Even though my arms, I was on pins and needles, but down by my torso and my legs. One night I was out with my son. We was out in the front yard, and I felt a warm breeze blow by me. And I was like, "Whoa, man!" That was the first time. I was like, "You feel?" And it just felt so good. And I felt it. And he felt it too. And I was like, "Wow."
That's
That
pretty
was
amazing.
the little thing. That was the little thing. It was like, "Oh, I wonder what's going on, man."
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible. I will mention one thing, Tom, that I talked to a few people, and from what I read and tried to look up and stuff, the one thing that I've heard from negative side effects and people that had stopped taking it was because their nerve sensation got increasingly strong. So it brought out nerve pain and stuff. So that's one thing that I have heard from people is it could affect, because it does increase that nerve sensitivity and stuff. So if you're already having some weird things, I don't know if that's something you just have to fight through and then it'll pass, or I think they kind of quit the study before they got the chance to. Or
Yeah, I talked to two individuals who were going through stem cell trials, and they said that was one of the side effects of the stem cell trials is they were getting nerve sensation back, but it was like neuropathy. It was like nerve pain. It was
Right.
it was firing, but it's still not necessarily in the right way. And his nerves waking up, but it's still it translated to discomfort, which we all I think experience to varying degrees. At least I do. Certain level of neuropathy and nerve pain, which gabapentin and baclofen and neuroinhibitors can help with stuff like that. But that's kind of the risk, the price you pay for recovery or regain sensation and function.
And this, we kind of noticed this in support groups, and when we talk about it, for us old timers that have been now 20, 30, 40 years, we've kind of noticed some nerve pain coming on. And really, the spinal cord does heal itself. The nerves start to heal very I think they said a millimeter a year or something, very minute. just over time. And I've kind of noticed increasing nerve pain within me, like the first 20, 25 years, nothing. I was like, no pain at all. No. And then all of a sudden it just like, yeah, I feel something, some burning. My
I'm
cat,
really glad. I'm really glad you brought that up because you took the words right out of my mouth, Bobby.
yeah.
Similar
So,
experience with me.
so things do start changing over time without even having anything.
Yeah, and like I love when my body talks to me. Like I try to feel everything, every spasm, every nerve sensation, because that's what I feel
Just
like it is.
listen to it.
To communicate. Now it's hard. It's hard to listen, and especially when
Yeah.
not all the sensations and feelings are, aren't always comfortable. But that's what I've
Correct.
noticed, especially the last few years, is new nerve sensations. My legs are talking to me a lot more. Like my body's talking to me a lot more. I'm a lot more sensitive when I sit and stuff. Like I can't sit for as long as or like in one position as long as I used to because like I start to get spasms and like nerve sensation and like what the heck is going on? And I'm sweating all of a sudden. I haven't sweat for 24 years, and in the last 6 months,
Wow.
I'm just sweating buckets off my forehead, and it's
Oh.
like been kind of a drip. But that's the unique thing and the unique nature of these spinal cord injuries. Now, considering your nerves are growing back by themselves and trying to fire and regain function. I mean, I can imagine something like 4AP in conjunction with just your body's natural regeneration and growth, could really help, possibly stimulate, that stuff, stimulate that nerve function.
Well, you know what? You know what I did for
Combine rehab and
spasms?
other things. It's
What I
pretty
did for
interesting.
spasms is that I looked online and I found that people in the deserts and stuff like that, uh, they get a lot of heat strokes and this and that. And what they were doing, what they were drinking pickle juice. And ever since I saw that, I had my son give me a gallon of it, and I would take 2 shots of that a day, and my spasms went away and never got them back.
Interesting. So
That
my dad would do pickle juice, or like I think it's like the quinine inside the pickle juice to help with his cramps because he would get these gnarly cramps that would just like tear his
That's why
muscles.
they tell you to take it. Yes.
Yeah, I wonder if the quinine, does something to help with that, or inhibit it. I recently just started on baclofen. I didn't have a choice. I didn't want to. I'm on a really low dose. I'm just like doing like 10, 20 milligrams a day, like as needed. But my spasms got out of control. I mean, I got to the point where I couldn't really sit in my chair comfortably. I couldn't make it like more than a couple hours, like laying in bed before like the pressure, like my coccyx and like my tailbone area was too much, and I would get that really insane like nerve sensitivity and muscle spasms. And the baclofen has been helping. It's definitely doing the trick. Like I can take one before I go to bed at night and make it through the night, no problem. So that's been nice. And I'm on a super low dose. Like the only thing I'm kind of scared about with that stuff is, you build up the tolerance quick, and you start needing more of it. I'm really like I'm like actually lined up to go talk to a doctor at Casa and to start PT over there. So I'm gonna come and hang out with Shawn all the time in the studio. But yeah, I'm trying to work on it too, like work on, I don't know, I mean, getting some more cushion on my bottom or something to try to figure out how to, mitigate some of this stuff without drugs. Because, I went 20 years without having to take anything. And now I'm finally starting to have to. But
See,
yeah,
you guys are the veterans, and I have not found one good spinal cord doctor yet. Bethany was it, but she had her third baby and she never returned to Cascalina, and I just cannot find her.
it's an
I'm
interesting
sure
topic,
she,
Ross. I've been trying
you
to
know,
find a spinal cord injury doctor for the last year and a half. I've seen 5 doctors, and
so have I.
it went from like my family practice doctor who referred me to a pain management doctor who referred me to another pain management doctor who referred me to a physiatrist who didn't specialize in spinal cord injury. And now like he's saying no, you need to go to a physiatrist or a pain management rehab specialist who like did their like specialization in spinal cord injury. So I was like, all right, how do I find that person? And
Yes.
thankfully the doctor who's on my team, he like did a one-to-one with my insurance and was like, okay, this is the doctor he needs to see. it was like out of my network, but here's like the justification and why you needed to do it. And I'm finally going. I'm finally getting the opportunity, and I'm hoping that it's like a real physiatrist. Like I had an amazing doctor, Dr. Amy Hutro at UCSF, who was my physiatrist before I moved to Southern California, and she was amazing. But same thing.
And you know what's the toughest about even finding the right doctor? Because I feel like I do have the right doctor, but then everything is like, okay, so go see him, now go see them, and nobody's talking, and it's hard to,
That's the problem.
oh, I don't know. Well, what did they say? And it's like, yeah, but they're asking me what you're saying, and it's just like it's funny. I live in California, and I went to I just had enough and wanted a complete like haul over of my body when I turned 30 years in a chair. So I went to Craig Hospital because I was like, hey, I want to be everyone on the same team. So, they did a complete physical so everybody can talk to everybody. And it was a complete report from everybody on the team. And it was just nice to have.
So that's what I'm trying to find too, is like a team, like a hospital, like somewhere like CASA where they can talk.
Let's try and find Bethany O'Connor, because she knew her stuff. She knew everything about it. I mean, there was not one thing, and she was the one that would stay there and literally just ask you tons of questions. And have you done this? Have you tried this? How's this feeling? How's that feeling? And she's the one that got me on the 4AP. But I've already been through Dr. Dogwall. I've already been to Dr. Lee. I've been to all the doctors at Coscalina, and they don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Well, I know Dylan on our chat, he said something about Dr. Vasily, and that's who I have, and she's great. But the one thing is that I don't live back. I mean, I live close, but not that close. So if I had to go to the hospital, she's not the one seeing me. So it's like, for a bad UTI, she's not the one seeing me. It's trying to find now the perfect bladder person, and then the person that, infectious disease or, whatever you may need, or the perfect pain medicine. Because when I take some pain meds when I do go into the hospital, because I'm not in my bed, my body's freaking out, and I'm asking for pain meds, and then they send in a pain doctor. And they're like, well, are you sure you want to take this? I'm like, I'm in pain, sorry. And then you're trying to get on a new it's crazy out there sometimes.
That's the thing with, getting doctors. It took me a long time to find a good doctor. I don't have a spinal cord doctor, but I do have, that's not my main doctor, but I have a doctor that has a team, and they all know me. They all know what I've been through. They all know what I'm going through. And if they need to know something about it, then they have colleagues that reach out and touch someone else. I've been blessed. But yeah, I did the pain management thing, man. With the baclofen, Tom, I relate totally, man. I've been on baclofen ever since I've started, because those spasms, especially at night, they will keep me up or kick people or having me going out of bed. The only thing that worked for me was baclofen. And I have built up a little tolerance, but my doctor don't want me to go too far. But he tried to wean me off of it, man. And these spasms just went crazy again.
Yeah.
So until they can I'm trying to find something where I can get rid of the baclofen and not have the spasms. But that's what, these shows are about. Maybe someone's out there that knows what's going on. But
yeah, that's a unique thing, though. Some people, like, I've talked to some quads and some paras that say, Shawn is one of them. Like, he says he got spasms that'll knock him out of his chair sometimes, right?
Oh.
And like that's for real. Some people have them. It's like how their cards fell. It's like and Louis said it best. It's the incomplete curse.
Well put.
But, like these incomplete spinal cord injuries, it's just kind of how the cards fall. I've known some people that have had great success with baclofen pumps. Like they were on, like, taking it orally for a long time. They got to the point where they had to take a super high dose in order to, combat their spasms. And they couldn't be popping these pills all day, and the side effects cannot be great sometimes. for some people especially. So they got a baclofen pump, which is it's like like an insulin pump, but instead of it goes straight to your spine and administers a super small dose, a micro dose, right to the damaged area that's causing the issue. And that's been a solution for some people and stop taking orally, and then can still, get that low dose right to the affected area and have success with it. But again, it's different. That's why it's important to stay after it. Make sure you do find a good doctor, regardless of how long it takes. And I really think that it's super, super important to educate yourself as much as possible.
Yes.
Nobody knows your body better than you, and you're gonna be able to help your doctors and your caregivers and be able to communicate better and more effectively what is going on. The more you're educated yourself. And I mean, I'm just a Googler. I sit there for hours, for hours and hours, just Googling and reading articles and stuff. And it's only a rudimentary surface level knowledge, but it does help me understand what's going on better, and it does help me communicate it better, which I think can help get better results for whatever treatment is and what's going on. So.
Yeah, definitely. And Peter in our chat said that his baclofen pump was a lifesaver. So
a shout out in the chat. We got
base.
I think Base of Spades.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Thank you, Base of Spades.
Little $10 donation. Thanks, man. We really appreciate the support, supporting the channel, and everybody out there. Andrew, Hit, Crit, Luis, Peter, everyone out there who hasn't even commented. Thank you guys for the support. And smash that like button if you haven't.
There you go. Smash it hard.
Smash it hard.
Yes, thank you everybody, and thank you for sure, Base of Spades. That's awesome. We appreciate that. But we'll get back to I guess spasms, or do you want to get back to the more 4AP stuff? So actually, one of the things I was going to mention too, I want to touch on earlier. We mentioned stem cell and stuff like that because I wanted to touch on different things that there other areas that science and stuff is going for us, which stem cell is obviously a big one too, and there are big studies going on with that. And I will say with that, and I think it's the same thing with 4AP, doing those things aren't going to do anything unless you work hard and rehab, like you actually push your body.
That's right.
Because
that's right.
For Triumph, we had a doctor that did one of the stem cell studies. He actually came on at a Zoom course with us with a bunch of the Triumph people and talked about it. And their study was based on rigorous activity. And all the people that they did the rigorous, it was like 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, working out, walking and stuff. And they all regained, they had really good success. And like Ron and Darryl said, when Darryl was taking it without rehab, the 4AP wasn't doing anything but affecting his nerves. So just want to stress that,
the main
there's all these things, but work is the big key still.
And the two main reasons they really push it is it's that cellular innervation. So it's like those electrical signals firing. It's your cells activating. Right. And a lot of them have been asleep for a long time, and the only way that they wake up is nearby signals, reminding them what they're supposed to do, and that's working your booty off and making those, nerves fire and make those cells, innervate and work. And the other big reason too is a lot of this stuff is in the trial phase, and the ones they want to give it to are the ones in the best position to provide the best results, and those are the ones working out a couple days a week, hitting rehab regularly, doing extra stuff outside, to ensure that they're making progress or doing whatever they can to make progress, because they wanted to reflect on the study, so that this stuff can move forward and be offered more readily to everybody.
If you don't use it, you'll lose it.
Yeah, the muscles have to fire.
Yes. When Casa Colina cut me loose because they said I wasn't advancing, on the way home I was just mad as all heck. And I saw this place called Rosoni and Smith, right in San Antonio and Foothill. I said, let me stop and talk to these people. So I got an appointment for the next day, and she evaluated me, and my arm would never get past this point. She's the one that got it to this point. within 3 weeks, which cost a Kalina outpatient couldn't do it in 3 months. And she just kept working my arm, and then she says, "Good, you're gonna hurt when you leave here, but you're gonna you'll pay. You'll be paying the fourth, on time." And ever since then, she's the one that got my hand above my head.
Yeah, so that's
And
cool.
it was from the gym they had in there.
And what Tom said, this is important, because I work my butt. It's been 14 years, and I still work my butt out when I go to therapy, And these trials, and if people want to get these studies, they're not going to give them to the people that's laying in bed and getting contracted and all spastic and,
Exactly.
It's going to be the ones that's out there keeping their body in shape, keeping limber, they give it a shot, man, because why put something on someone extra and they're not doing the extra to get where they want to be? So yeah, man, it takes a lot of hard work. You can't give up, and you might want to, but you can't give up. Get yourself a good support group and good people around you, and it's amazing what science is doing today.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
It truly
It's
is.
amazing.
I always say,
that
don't count the days, make the days count.
That's good.
yeah,
yes.
and something I do want to say though, and this is like words from the great Andrew Skinner, who's like the head of the China Foundation. He said at one of the support groups that I was at and attending, and we were talking about this recovery and stem cell research and stuff like 4AP. And while it's always great to keep yourself informed about, new studies and new drugs and new therapies and new treatments, it's very important to live in the now. It's like great to work towards recovering and walking again, but it's very important to, recognize how important it is to, accept like, hey, this is what I got right now and I got to work on it. I got to make it work, and, I got to get, my body strong right now, not just waiting around hoping that maybe one day the fix-it cure will come along that would just, fix your spine or, make it all better again. It's really important to, be present, work on your body now, work on the body that you have now, take care of it the best you can. And, if recovery is, really your goal, stay informed, talk to doctors, try to get in studies and stuff. But, in the meantime, it's really important to keep taking care of yourself the best you can.
Every day,
thanks, Tom.
every day.
Every day. And
Yeah,
we did
'cause-
have a comment.
But just in general with the spinal cord or without, we want to, be healthy for movement, and it's going to help with age.
Correct.
It's going to help with overall health, and it's going to be the same as if you're taking something to recover, if that's 4AP or stem cell. We've got
Exactly.
For body is movement, and movement is body. So if you, unfortunately, I talk about it with my dad. I'd like to see him move more because, the older he's getting, he gets off that couch, he's like, whoa. I'm like, Dad, you got to start walking more, got to move more. He's like, I know. And I see the results when he's not moving as much. He's a lot stiffer. He's a lot slower. He's, and then it's harder to start over again. If you keep yourself at it somewhat at constant, you don't have to go hard all the time. But if you just keep and maintain and do some
walk a day.
physical exertion throughout the day for at least 30 minutes. It doesn't
At
take much.
least.
Yeah, one of the biggest reasons I was so scared of this baclofen and stuff is because I was afraid it was going to take away my spasms completely. And that might kind of sound like a weird statement, because wouldn't that be a good thing? But I love my spasms, and I learned to love my spasms. 'Cause every time my muscles expand and contract, I see that cellular innervation, and I see my muscles, working and doing their thing. I know that they're still getting something. They're still getting some kind of signal. They're still, they're still functioning rather than taking it all away. Some movement, I always firmly believe is better than none at all. Even if it's spastic movement. And for me, long time, I still have some tone in my legs, even after 24 years, because, I just let them do their thing for a long time, and, it's manageable for me. And it's gotten to the point where it's less manageable. But thankfully the low dose, I still got my spasms. Like I still, my legs still talk to me, communicate to me, which I like really appreciate and like I love that. Like I can still get some kind of feedback from them because it does tell me when I'm sitting uncomfortably. It tells me when something's off. Like if I got a rock in my shoe, like I'll start to get spasms and stuff. And it's like
Or you might have a bladder infection.
exactly.
Yeah.
My bladder's exactly.
You don't
I
want
learned
to
from you guys. That was one thing going to the support group. I learned from every one of you guys. Daryl's always been my inspiration since I met him. Darryl, every time I look at his eyes, and he's the strongest person I've known. Now I see 3 other strong people. You guys always just, I go, man, I got nothing compared to you guys. And I still don't know why I came back so quick, but my surgeon had told me this, that if it wasn't for me being in construction at the studios for over 30 years and always active, he goes, you'd probably be still in a wheelchair. He gave me 3 to 5 years not getting out of the wheelchair. And I was out of that thing within 5 months.
Yeah,
So I believe hard work is the key.
Yeah,
I went to the gym.
you are a testament, to it as much as any of us, my man. Like every day, like I'm sure, to recover and keep recovering and to continue to push yourself, even after you recover, to make sure that you don't lose it. And you keep pushing forward, all the time and every day. Like you're such an amazing, positive example of that.
I talk to people too who are injured and tell them my story. And there's when we were going to constantly to have the meetings, 14 guys that were there have somewhat the same injuries as me, and they're in a wheelchair. And they always ask me, "How did you get out of it?" And I tell them the story. And like Dean always said, just because we got the same injury doesn't mean we get the same results. So they always told me that I was an inspiration to them, so they're going to keep working and working until they can get to where they're at.
Yeah,
That's right.
I knew another amazing quad who recovered. Her name was Brenda. I don't know if you ever met her, Shawn or Bobby. She was injured when she was 3 months pregnant. She fell out of bed, hurt her neck, and came into Northridge. And she walked into the support group like 7 months later with her baby, like carrying her baby, like walking. And it was really, really incredible to see her journey and her transformation, see her work and bust her ass, not only for her beautiful daughter, but, for herself to get to that place. And it was really cool and amazing to see. And, it's just one of those things, like she was an inspiration for us and, like inspired even those of us, who weren't, in that situation where we got the return back to, keep pushing ourselves and, push ourselves hard and, keep recovering too. I think, everybody can be a shining example of that. Like that's their mantra and how they live their life, what they do, whether you're walking or rolling, it doesn't really matter.
Hey,
Yeah.
Tom, you want to define what the difference between spasm and tone is? I know Louise out there was asking. Some people kind of answered it, and
I
then
can
we can
help
go
with
on to
that
another
too, 'cause
question about Craig Hospital.
yeah, I'll do a little bit on
Shawn
tone.
got the best tone in the world. So
I was gonna say I have pretty strong tone. That's one of the things. Like ever since the beginning, they've always told me like, "Wow, your tone is really strong." So what that means and what I've been told, like for me, like basically my legs feel really heavy. Like you can't just move them. So I get some violent spasms. Once they trigger, they go kick everywhere. But they're not like that all the time. For the most part, they're just frozen in place. Like they don't want to move at all. Whoops, we lost Ron for a sec. So I don't know what exactly. Like I actually was just talking to another quad that's a newer injury. She's in the Northridge area actually, and she's has super bad tone to the point where even for her, it's through her arms. So even to bend her arm at night, like they're having to stretch it and move it and stretch it and like loosen the muscle up before it'll even bend. So essentially it's just locking the muscle into like a frozen, like a hard point and holding tight. So the muscle never relaxes. It just stays tight all the time.
And you can really tell because your muscles look like defined. and pronounce. Like
Right.
Shawn, I've never seen a quad body like his, dude. Like he's got the craziest like crip legs around because they just look solid. Like they don't really look like, you know, they've been paralyzed for 20 years.
My
You know,
legs
like,
look about the same as they did before my injury. Not gonna lie,
yeah.
like they look about the same. Like,
But I have this like tenodesis muscle that's like really solid on like the top of my arm, but like my forearm like is pretty skinny and hollow down here. It's because this muscle like there's no tone here. There's
Yeah.
but my legs
Tom,
like I
that's a
tone
great
in my
injury.
calves, but my thighs like especially the outside of my thighs like look pretty skinny and hollow. Just because like the muscle lost all their tone just from atrophying because those ones don't spasm and those ones don't fire for me. So they were never able to keep that tone. But spasm
then
can help with that. It's one of the
And then
benefits.
the spasms, where spasms are just your muscles kicking off, firing. It could be small and twitches all the way to definitely kicking out repeatedly or bouncing. And then there's something called clonus, where clonus is constant. Tap, 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 tap.
yeah, that's like
Right.
when your ankle is just tapping away on your foot plate. Tap, 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 like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
clone. Yeah.
And then I
Um,
wanted to answer a quick question out there. Sharon was asking about Craig Hospital, and I know Louise said it's it's an outstanding place. And I did get to go there a couple of years ago for a week to have a checkup or a kind of a physical, and they were amazing. I was very impressed to go through the whole process of staying there. So I flew from California, stayed at their place right next door. Got to rent it out, or it's kind of like a hotel, and it's all accessible. So it was right next door. Every morning, woke up, had a schedule, go in there. They helped me with my colostomy and getting situated because I had just gotten it, and then also some skin irritation that I had going on. Also some neck issues, and it was, and then they even dove into a little bit of some of my wheelchair items, and so I think for anyone new or been injured as long for 30 years, I think it's great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I
I've
had an
never been. I would love to
opportunity.
check it out.
I had an opportunity when I was a teenager not to go to Craig Hospital, but it was Shriners Hospital in Sacramento, and they are a pretty renowned spinal cord rehab hospital at the time. And I would go for I think I did for like 5 or 6 years, where I go for 2 weeks during the summer, and my mom would drop me off, and like I go and stay, and that was kind of it. Like they physical me, like I'd have doctors come in and check me out and stuff, make sure I'm good. They talked to me a lot about like tendon transfer like surgeries and things like that. And then the rest of it was just like a 2 week like rehab where you go to PT every day. They get you in the pool. They took me skiing. They do fun activities and stuff. And there were other like quads and pairs there too doing it around my age. So it was very like unique, cool thing. I don't know if anything like that still exists. And I think it was because I was under 21. Shriners is they
Yeah.
do stuff for older people, but they do a lot of stuff for free for people under 21 who are injured. Maybe something to like look into too, like rehab programs and stuff, especially ones where you can go and stay. It can be a great break for yourself. I know it was always a great break for my mom and dad. It's just like, know that I'm taken care of. Like I'm in a place where I'm like, good and stuff, and they can still get some respite. But in any case.
And stuff like that can be good too. Like Ron was saying, he kind of got all he could from Casa Colina, and then he went to an outside rehab, found extra help. Like sometimes just getting a change and some, different perspective, different help, whatever can be beneficial too.
Now,
So
I got one more
try
question
it.
about 480 for Darryl. Now, do you take it? Is it like an oral thing? Like you take a pill
Yeah, it's a pill. I believe
and just
she's
once a
giving
day, every day, twice a
I
day?
think
And
every day. Well, it's every day, twice a day. Yeah. So
how much do you take?
back on it. I'm back on it. So, and now my physical therapy and my occupational therapy is kicking in. So maybe in the next couple of months, I'll come back and let y'all know about any progress and stuff.
Heck
But
yeah.
Yeah, that would
it's
actually.
I think it will be.
And now
Yeah, that would be really cool.
this is my last question about it. Is it covered by your insurance? Or you
Well,
gotta pay out of pocket for it?
no, you pay out of pocket. It was now the one for the MS patients. For some reason, they said it was like over $500 a prescription. It's pretty high, but they have a pharmacist in Diamond Bar. Ron knows it, and they do a compound of it, the exact same thing, and it's about $70 for I think 30 days, 30 pills.
Okay.
And it's compound out of this uh, drugstore in Diamond Bar. I can give Shawn that information, and then he
Yeah.
can pass it on and of the place and where it's at and how much. About $70.
Yeah, and if anybody out there is like really curious and really serious, and wanting to like ask more questions and stuff, like feel free to reach out to me or Shawn or Bobby, and I'm sure even Darryl will be happy to answer his questions or point you in the right direction to talk about it some more. But definitely talk about it with your doctor too. Very important thing. Make sure you do any kind of medication and stuff, especially stuff that could possibly change your sensation and your function. It's important that have someone professional alongside to just keep track of your progress and keep track of things. Make sure that no harm is being done.
Yeah, definitely. I was just gonna touch real quick. Dylan had mentioned earlier he came in a little late, so he was asking if like the 4AP would be beneficial for him like a C4-5 quad. He's years post injury too, but that's what we were kind of talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Dylan and Darryl started at 8 years after his injury and started getting function back. So it kind of stimulates nerves essentially. And if you want to go back, you can watch the beginning. We talk more about it. But yeah, it essentially is stimulating the nerve growth or a tendon. Darryl can even probably explain it real quick again.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's actually jump starting them. And once you jump start them, you can get that twitch of any muscles or any group of muscles. Then we can build off of that. But the only thing it takes is a toe. If you work on your toe and if you keep doing it, then it's going to be all the toes. Then it's going to be the foot. You keep on going. It's just waking everything up because, like Ron was saying earlier, everything's been asleep for a long time, but our bodies are amazing, and we can heal ourselves. But it's not going to happen by itself. You got to put in the work.
And so like Darryl said it, you got to put in the work. But what the 4AP can help do is it just can help the impulse conduction on like the demyelinated region of your spine. So the area where the damage is and where the myelin sheath is damaged and the nerves are damaged, it just helps those nerves send those electrical signals easier. It can help that impulse conduction. And in conjunction with rehab and stuff, they've been showing some positive results. Even for individuals who have been injured for a long time. I read a study where it was like 12, 14 years plus. And Darryl is a testament to that because he's been paralyzed for 14 years. And he didn't start taking it up until after 8 years. And he's shown positive results using it. So there you go. That's it.
And the other thing to note is when he's getting the positive results is during rehab. So just to mention, like, it is in conjunction with, exercise and stimulating those muscles, trying to fire and things. You're making those connections essentially.
And that is true for all forms of recovery, rehabilitation, even stem cell stuff we talked about earlier too. Like if your goal and your plan is recovery, it's like rehab that body, baby, work those legs, work those arms, work everything you can. It's really important to keep as much firing as possible all the time. Can we shout out some comments real quick and some people in the chat?
Yeah, definitely. Do that real quick before we wrap.
Andrew Hunt, you're like coming back every week, man. Joining us from the UK across the pond. Thanks for watching us late and hanging out, dude. We appreciate it. I didn't want to shout out Sharon. She says she has a son. He's 30 years old. He's been paralyzed for 5 years. I hope you got some useful information out of these shows. I hope you enjoy them. And please share them with your son. If he's inclined to watch, we'd love to have him take a look and stuff. And I think Dee and Mikey and everybody, you guys are all awesome. Thanks Thanks for joining and participating in the chat. It really helps the channel. It really helps like boost the video and like help it show up on the YouTube algorithms when we have an active chat going and we have the likes going up on the video. So thanks to everybody who does that. We appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well done. Well said, Tom.
And thank you,
everybody
Darryl.
again.
Especially
Darryl.
of course.
yesterday.
And
well,
Ron,
thanks,
I know
Ron,
Ron,
for-
Ron's
Yeah, I
not
think he
with
must
us.
have lost connection or something happened, but that's okay. We got him for most of the show, and hopefully
Daryl
had
and
some
Ron,
good.
they're the best. We're gonna definitely have them back on the pod. They're both podcast veterans, and we're really excited to talk to you in a couple months, Daryl. After you do some rehab and stuff, and see how your rehab and your recovery's going, man. I'm excited.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. And it's just like when I went skydiving, man. Anything's possible. That was like 2 years ago. Not even 2 years ago. I was at that opportunity. So I mean, just don't stay in bed, man.
You went skydiving, Daryl?
He
What?
did.
Darryl wins.
You went skydiving?
Yeah.
Man,
You can check it out on YouTube.
how was that? Was that pretty wonderful?
It's on YouTube. Shawn got it. Like.
All right, I'm gonna
I will.
definitely-
I will actually. I forgot, but I will put that link in the description afterwards for people if you guys want to check it out.
That's funny. I mean,
Darryl
that's
said-
an inspiration to me. I had an opportunity 2 years ago to try to do it, and I babied out. I moved out because I got kind of scared. But man, heck, if Daryl's out there jumping out of airplanes, maybe I can do it too.
See,
can do it.
you're inspiring right now, man.
Bobby was my inspiration. When he told me he did it, I was like, I want to do it like that dude. I want to do
Nice.
it
Hey,
like him.
we got a couple birds in the chat.
So-
On the show today. Yeah, here.
I did put it in the chat, Darryl. So you guys can check out that YouTube and watch Gerald skydive. So I just put that in the chat.
Yeah, fast forward. There's a lot of emotion going
Hey,
on.
Hip Crib says that he's done it too. Man, dude, apparently I got to get on the skydiving game.
I know. Come on, Tom.
All right, consider it done, you guys. I'll make sure Shawn gets the video.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll do that for sure.
No, but what's gonna happen is I'm gonna drag Shawn with me, and we're both gonna jump out of a plane. We'll just make a literal.
I'm
video.
down. Let's do it, dude. I'll do it with you.
All right, dude. We'll do it then.
Hell yeah.
Hey, I wanna
Sweet, dude. So
I want to be there. I'll be there if I can be there. For
you're gonna come?
right?
All right.
Let
Well-
me know.
We'll definitely make a video for this too.
All right.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And then I was gonna also shout out real quick. So we started the Live to Roll live streams 1 year ago. Next week it'll actually be like our year kind of anniversary of these live shows.
Yeah.
So next week we're gonna do a little bit of just a hangout Q&A recap of some of the shows. So just please come back and join us and check it out and hang out and to celebrate our
And your
year.
boy Tom is going to be in the studio with Shawn. I'm fully vaccinated. I'm 2 weeks out.
All right.
And yeah, it's going to be an in-person pod.
That would be
Your mom's
awesome, man. Yeah, that would be
said-
super cool. So
Shawn, you're not going skydiving. Your mom said no.
I know she put that in.
Speaking of, I just want to wish a happy belated Mother's Day to Donna, all the moms out there, Sharon, everybody, all your moms. Like,
Yes,
hope you
thank
guys
you.
had a wonderful Mother's Day. Happy belated Mother's Day. And yo, Shawn, let's do a Moms of Quads podcast. My mom is down. Like
Okay.
if Donna's down, let's do it.
That sounds like a good show too. We'll definitely have that in the works here coming up. Awesome, guys. All right. Well, I guess we'll try to wrap it up. No, but
Yeah,
What's
but like Hip Crib said, hit that like button. It definitely
Yes.
helps out the channel. Definitely helps out Shawn. So let's make sure we give his love and support. So hit that like button. I see 27 people are watching. So and only 7 people have liked. Let's get it up.
we got 20 likes, I think.
Thank
Oh, but we
Bobby.
got
I
one.
love it.
We got one dislike. So I don't know who did that one.
Oh no. And then maybe,
That's all right.
Yeah, that's all right. They accidentally hit it. Trying to hit the like button. That's okay.
That's all right. All right, guys. I guess we'll wrap up this week, but join us next week for sure. And we'll have Darryl back to check on his progress too in a couple months here. So yeah, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and live to roll, everybody.